Currently, China is entering its most perilous political phase. Not crisis, but secession. Xi Jinping has governed as a classic strongman, purging and reshaping the CCP elite, tightening control at home, modernizing the PLA, muscling up foreign policy from the Taiwan Strait to the South China Sea, and even encouraging a, quote, wolf warrior diplomatic style before reining it in. He's also drawn closer to Russia. Soon, though, the defining question won't be what Xi does next, but who comes in after him and how. Secessions in authoritarian systems create dangerous incentives, and the CCP is no exception. So, a bit of a disclaimer as always, this is a summary of the author's opinions, those being Tyler Jost and Daniel Mattingly. Jost being a professor at the Department of Political Science at Watson School of International and Public Affairs at Brown, and then Daniel Mattingly being a professor of political science at Yale. And this is for their article After Xi in this past Foreign Affairs. With that being said, their core lesson. So, secession politics starts long before a leader exists. Long before a leader exits and can warp both domestic choices and foreign behavior. With Xi now 72, positioning for a post-Xi order will shape China's politics for years. The United States and its allies might be tempted to fish in these troubled waters, but trying to exploit a secession could easily backfire. Historically, leadership fights have pushed Beijing toward bad foreign policy decisions, and outside meddling would likely harden the suspicion of the West. So, first, the bench problem. So none of the current 7 on the Politburo Standing Committee fits the usual successor profile. I'm going to mispronounce all these names, just for warning, but Li Zhang would be in his 70s by 2032. Kai Q, or Kui, I don't know, is only slightly younger than Xi. Ding Zhejian would be 65 in 2027 and lacks provincial executive experience, and Li Ji, Wang Hening, and Zhao Leijai are also considered too old. In short, the most obvious pipeline looks misaligned with past practice, if I could speak this morning. So, secondly, the maybe candidates also come with asterisks. So the larger Politburo includes Shanghai Party Secretary Chen Zhijing, young but current Politburo standards, and in a role that launched past leaders, but he's not on the standing committee and would need time to learn the ropes, basically, likely making him older than Zhang Hu or Xi were at their ascension. So that delays a handover or raises the odds of a late surprise. So basically, in that case, watch 2027. So the next party Congress is expected then, when the standing committee reshuffle could reveal Xi's preferred heir if he's aiming at a 2032 handoff. A 2032 timeline likely forces a choice, either an older heir, which would mean short runway to carry on Xi's agenda, or a dark horse who lacks the standard pedigree. Both paths introduce uncertainty. Then there's the aging heir trap. So picking someone too old risks a short tenure and renewed churn, exactly like the late Soviet pattern Xi often warns against. For example, Brezhnev's elderly successors died quickly, paving the way for Gorbachev and then later the systematic collapse. That historical caution looms over elite calculations. And then there's the case for the dark horse, right? So elevating an outsider would pass over an entire current 24-member Politburo cohort. That could embitter an entire generation of would-be leaders and intensify factional maneuvering. Conditions under which either a reformist Deng-style figure or someone even more conservative and nationalist than Xi might surge. So sixth, The longer Xi delays naming a successor, the more volatility builds. So each year without clear grooming raises the odds of weaker candidates, power struggles, and rumor spirals. Those stories about Xi's imminent demise, basically, matter less as facts and more as smoke signals of institutional stress. So then there's the foreign policy caution. So Washington should resist the urge to play the secession, basically interfering with it. Intervening would violate sovereignty and, worse, validate long-standing CCP narratives about hostile Western forces, a lens the leadership still uses to interpret the 1989 time and to color its view of U.S.-Chinese relations today. So trying to tilt the field could unify elites against an external threat or provoke sharper risk-acceptant moves abroad. So in conclusion, Xi's era has been about consolidation. The next era will be about secession and the uncertainty that comes with it. The pipeline is thin, the timelines are tight, and the choices are all costly. An older era with a short horizon or a surprise pick that alienates a generation. Expect rising elite tension, more rumor and risk aversion at home, and a premium on regime stability. Factors that can spill into sharper nationalism or external distraction. For outsiders, the smartest posture is vigilance without hubris. Avoid theatrics, prepare for policy whiplash, and build coalitions that can absorb turbulence no matter who follows Xi. And with that being said, I will see you guys on the next one.